Hello everybody, welcome to 2CTV, your global news channel. We come to you guys with another breaking news, this time from Turkey. There are massive clashes as we speak happening between Erdogan's security forces and the Turkish protesters. The opposition leader has been arrested and the Turkish currency lira is falling apart. Ladies and gentlemen, as predicted, we had a feeling that the political stability in Turkey is going to go away. Erdogan is not helping the situation by being a dictatorial tyrant, and his Islamist minions are causing chaos, obviously. But it's okay, because they are the victims. Apparently, the dictator and his powerful political establishment, they are the true victims in this, because some people don't like his Islamist agenda. After he funded and supported Al-Tahrir al-Sham, the Islamists with the leadership of al-Julani, who took over Syria, well, he forgot to pay attention to domestic politics. And now it's all happening. We have a number of videos which we're going to show you guys from the protests, massive protests, demonstrations and clashes with the security forces of Erdogan. We're going to show you guys all that and of course explain, in case you don't know what's been going on, explain the backstory over the last few days and weeks, how this led to this mess. Let's go. Once again, we have proof that in countries that have oppression, it's the younger generation who are rising up because they want more liberty and they want more freedom. And they are looking at other countries and the free world and they are seeing the opportunities that those places have. And of course, they want to do it. They want the same. Same thing we are seeing in Iran, same thing we are seeing in Turkey. So let me explain how this uprising actually started. By the way, surprise, surprise, Erdogan has not actually blamed the Jews, which is quite rare, but he can't because he knows who his enemy actually is. Now, let's talk about what's actually been going on. This is the opposition leader, Imamoglu, who outperforms Erdogan in opinion polls, is now facing 23 years in prison. He is, well, was or is the mayor of Istanbul. Ekrem Imamoglu essentially has been the formidable opponent to Erdogan and his dictatorial regime. He has recently had his university degree revoked by the establishment. You know what that means? You think, well, does it just mean that he's been cancelled by the university? No. In Turkey, if you lose your university degree, you will be disqualified from running for election for public office, which will be in 2028, 3 years from now. And as we said, he's already more popular than Erdogan, and they thought, well, the best thing to do is to send him to prison, right? But it's okay because Erdogan has his excuse. We're going to explain what that excuse is in this live stream. Firstly, we have to talk about what's going on with the currency, because Turkey's lira has now plunged to 39 liras per dollar, which is the weakest level ever after the police raided the home of Ekrem İmamoğlu, the mayor of Istanbul, who's the top opponent. And they know that all these trumped up charges, essentially. So they're basically, the excuse is that there is political corruption. Erdogan and his corrupt regime are claiming that their popular opponent is corrupt. So they have to send him to jail. Kangaroo courts, left, right, and center. That's basically the gist of it. But the scenes that we are seeing tonight across the country in Turkey, in Ankara, in Istanbul, and other places is astonishing. The level of crowd coming out. Let's go to the next clip.
Vatanımıza, atamızın bize emanet ettiği güzel cumhuriyetimize el ele verip birlikte sahip çıkacağız. Hepinizden rica ediyorum. Bu büyük kumpas operasyonumuzda yanımızda olun. Her zaman birlikte olmaya devam edelim. Alnımız ak, başımız dik. Kabullen.
Astonishing. So obviously the security forces are doing a massive crackdown. They do not want any of this to escalate. They don't want the media to show this. And by the way, we are going to talk about the role of the European Union in this, because the European Union have been backing Erdogan's regime and even Erdogan's proxy in Syria, Al-Julani, by giving them money. But the European Union, or at least the European Parliament, have been forced to stay away. Before we do that, we're going to explain exactly what's going on with the EU. Let's go to the next round of clips that we are getting tonight from cities across Turkey. Absolutely well done to the opposition for actually coming out and not surrendering to a bunch of idiots who have been oppressing and being corrupt themselves and completely ruining Turkey, the country that was on the up in the 1990s and early 2000s, late 80s even. Turkey was going up. It was becoming modernized. As they called it, it was becoming Europeanized. Now they're going backwards because of the leadership. Turks need to take back control. So let's talk about the European Union. The EU, who've been backing Erdogan and his minions, have been forced to now call this out. The European Parliament have condemned Erdogan for removing the opposition mayors. The European Parliament are now demanding the release of the opposition, and they've said that Turkey's disregard for the rule of law is not right, and Brussels is now considering sanctions against the Turkish officials involved in a crackdown. You might wonder, why is the European Union so passionate about this? Nobody even asked the European Union about this. It's because they know what's about to come. They know everything is going to be exposed when it comes to the European Union. They've been backing Erdogan, they've been backing Turkey, they've been plotting to get the Turks to join the European Union. And now, with all this stuff coming out, it's going to be exposing all the EU officials who had a hand in this. All the liberal globalists in Europe, in Western Europe, who've been plotting this, who've been basically propping up this dictator. Now they have to come out to say, yeah, this is bad, we condemn this. Nobody takes the EU seriously. You can condemn whatever you want. You could put sanctions on Turkey if you want. Not much is going to actually change. We're still going to come for you because people around the world, especially good people in Turkey, need to understand that the European Union is not your friend. They only help your establishment when it suits them. That is the reality. Let's go to the next video clip that we have coming tonight from Turkey. And then, of course, we're going to get your reaction as well. And it's always great to see the younger generation in these sort of countries coming out. By the way, when it comes to protests against authoritarianism in countries that we mentioned, it's not really just about Iran or Turkey. We even have the same trend when it comes to so-called democratic countries. So in any country that you have too much socialism or too much authoritarianism and centralization, actually a younger generation come out to protest for liberal democracy and free market capitalism, because we had the same thing in Spain over the years, across Madrid and other major cities. Unlike in Germany or in France or the US or the UK or Canada, where younger people are all becoming left-wing because they already have everything, they're privileged and they're all spoiled and they chant for communism. In countries that already have oppression and socialism, they come out for free market capitalism. Spain, we had the same thing. Argentina, we had the same thing until they voted for Javier Milei. And now we have the same thing in Iran and Turkey. Now, speaking of the idiots in power in Turkey, Erdogan, the whole thing started not just after he arrested the Istanbul mayor, but he has been attacking one of the top business associations in Turkey, TUSIAD or TUSID, accusing them of being corrupt and trying to put pressure on the government. Basically saying I'm the victim and some businesses are attacking me, right? The drama started because the executive, Omar Aras of this organization, called out the government for silencing the critics. Basically, that's it. Within days, prosecutors launched an investigation into him and the whole thing fell apart. So if you criticize Erdogan, you will be accused of corruption. By the way, there's a reason they use the word corruption. It's a very Islamic mentality. So in Islam, so for example, in a normal Western country, the biggest crime will be treason against your nation, right? Treason against the state. But in Islam, the biggest crime is corruption against humanity. And by humanity, they mean Muslims, Islam, right? So if you get accused of corruption, it's not the corruption that we see in the West. So it's not like, oh, you're taking money and you're lying. No. It basically, that means you're against us. So that's the language that they use. And they could accuse you of that and just throw nonsense at you and take you to a kangaroo court. And then you can't really defend yourself because the case is already concluded before you even go to the courtroom, if you even get to the courtroom. We are receiving more videos from the massive wave of demonstrations in Turkey. The next clip is from Istanbul. So it's the same thing that we are saying, because there is a combination of political culture in that side of the world, especially when it comes to Turkey. You can see similarities between the Islamic tyranny and also, relatively speaking, Eastern European tyranny. So this sort of protest and corruption that we're seeing, Serbia, we've had massive nonsense happening in Serbia, similar issues on different level, Romania, and obviously Turkey. You know, you could just get accused of nonsense and you could go to jail and you can't even defend yourself. And it's apparently it's normal behavior. Now, when it happens, when something like that on a smaller scale happens in the West, we call it out. But you can't call it out if you're there, because you'll just disappear. And that's the situation right now in Turkey. This is also some of the videos from the clashes earlier on, because this whole thing started over the last a few hours. Although the actual initial protest started obviously this morning and last night, but it's been escalating since. Running away. So all the clips coming from Ankara and Istanbul and other major cities as well. Go on, Turks, rise up and take back control of your country. Let's get some reaction while we are here, especially if you're from Turkey. Let me know what you think. Let's get some super chats, then obviously non-super chats as usual. Digital Universe, thank you very much. Saying a selfish question. I had my teeth done in Turkey, of course. So the dental work has failed. It is safe to go back and get them fixed. This is what happens when you get your teeth fixed in Turkey. Why? Yes, I think it's fair. I mean, it's fairly safe for a tourist to quickly go in and get your tooth done and come back out. It should be okay. Although, just wait a couple of days, because this whole thing, that the way it's going, by tomorrow, you either going to get a massive crackdown, as in they will shut down the whole thing, right? But doesn't mean they fixed it. The regime could shut down the whole thing for a while. It will implode eventually, which means you can go, just find out in the next couple of days. Or the whole thing could escalate and Erdogan could be in trouble, which means if it does escalate, which is highly unlikely because Erdogan's security forces are very robust, they could easily bring him down within weeks, but we'll find out. So just wait a couple of days, I guess. Paulo says fundamental Islam is dying. I agree. Aaron says dominoes to fall if Erdogan goes. Putin's support. I think Putin's going to stay away from this because mostly because Turkey is not Erdogan, not Turkey. Difference. Turkey and Erdogan different. Erdogan is not necessarily blaming, not really, foreigners. Like, he's not blaming the Jews, which is a surprise, right? And he's got his own problems, which means that Putin has other problems. He has to negotiate with Trump. Putin is going to be told by President Trump not to hang around with the Iranians. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Not now, if you want any sort of deal with Ukraine. And they have to say the same thing with Turkey. The problem is, Turkey is still in NATO. Why? Anyway. Another super chat from Israel. Thank you. And ASA says the cult followers of Muhammad killed 270 million people in 1,400 years. That's 528 people per day and 22 people an hour, approximately. Yeah. Stu says liras are kaput. Come adopt the euro. Suspicious. This is interesting, right? Because the thing is, it was in the interest of Erdogan to ensure that lira is stable to be able to be accepted into the EU. So if they think that this would be some sort of clever plan to take advantage of this, saying, well, lira's falling apart, Eurozone, can you help us? Give us euro. Terrible idea. Because I'm pretty sure even the Eurozone are not stupid to bring in yet another failed currency. It's going to affect the rest of the Eurozone. Like, even they're not that stupid. And they usually are in the European Union. This says, our young idiots are out protesting for Hamas and terror and crushing the West. So having a good life makes you nuts as well, I guess. God help us. That's true. You become spoiled and privileged. Most of these far left nutters, they're all middle class privileged people anyway with private education. So it says, so much S happening around the world now. Just hope to stay alive to see all the changes unfold. Let's hope so. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel. And not the light of death, by the way. Light of hope. John Craig, thank you for your super chat, saying the people of Turkey are some of the nicest people on the face of the planet. I hope the military don't crack down on the innocents. Well, of course they're going to do it. Now, there are a lot of good people from Turkey, and they deserve to live in a better country with a better system. And as I said, Turkey was on the up. They were doing so well from the late 80s, 90s, towards the end, and this happened. And now look at it. The good people of Turkey don't deserve this sort of nonsense. And for years and years, they had to tolerate this regime. Hopefully, we can see some sort of reform soon. Dasman says, CP reports 2CTV, check your WhatsApp. Thank you. Nancy from Canada says, it appears that Mr. Putin is losing his resources. Your thoughts, Maya? It is interesting, the timing of this, because not necessarily some sort of conspiracy, by the way. It's just the wave of changes. And actually, you could see it as a very good opportunity, right? Negotiations with Putin over Ukraine. We have a bigger long-term threat, which is a Chinese Communist Party. The Islamic Republic is a imminent medium-term annoyance in the world. Putin, in order to oppose the West, because he was like, you guys don't like me, the Western establishment, so I'm going to go befriend the Chinese and the Iranians, right? And obviously anybody who was against the West. That includes Assad in Syria and all the others. And the Palestinian movement. Putin has lost the Palestinian movement because they're being crushed. Hamas and Hezbollah and all those guys. Assad is gone. Is in Moscow right now. The Iranian regime is falling apart. And actually, as part of these negotiations, is a very perfect opportunity to tell Putin and Russia, if you want to normalize relationships going forward, and President Trump could be a good figure to do that, is to say, okay, stay away from Iran, be with us in case China kicks off. It's not worth being with China. Obviously, it's not black and white. It's not going to say, yeah, let's go F President Xi. They're still friends, but they're kind of frenemies because Russia and China are not necessarily full-on allies. They also have the same ambitions, so especially when it comes to BRICS. But there is a perfect opportunity to basically get the Russian side to come back this way. I got turkey for dinner tomorrow. Not sure if I should eat it, for God's sake. I knew someone was going to say that. Patrick Fuller says, this is what happens when you lock up the competition and act like a dictator. I don't understand why they think they could get away with this. This is not the 1900s. People can see what's going on and they can rise up, and new media outlets like 2CTV will report it to the whole world. The whole world is seeing what's going on now in Turkey. And over the next few days, more people will find out. Finally got tired of inflation, huh? Wallet hurts for long enough time, plus censorship equals uprising. Yeah. It's just bad governance. Very poor governance. Norma says, Turkey's president is a terrorist-loving, corrupt establishment of them all. Yes, and he's accusing the others of being corrupt. The irony. Jeff says, why isn't this being reported in the mainstream media? Erdogan is trying to recreate the Ottoman Empire. Thing is, he could never rally the troops in Turkey to do that, apart from a bunch of Islamists, and they don't really care about that. The mainstream media, you kidding me? They're not going to report this. We're always first. Elder says, I've been watching your channel since yesterday. Oh, that long. Thanks for watching, by the way. I hope you don't get nabbed. Your channel is necessary. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the coverage. We have someone actually from Turkey saying, hi, I am from Turkey. Hello, Turkey. Let us know what you think, what's going on over there. It would be good to get your thoughts if you're watching this from the country. I was going to ask if we are sure that the protesters are in Muslim Brotherhood Islamists, but most of the women are not wearing any curtains, which is proof enough. Of course not. No, these guys are very good. Obviously, you have a combination of Christians and all the others and good people in Turkey who are just sick and tired of this nonsense. Shona says, I agree. The younger generation in liberal cities are spoiled little brats here in the US and in Canada and in the UK and everywhere in the West. That's the problem. Iran is a Muslim country. No, it's not. When did Iran become a Muslim country? Why don't the atheists and secularists leave Iran if they don't like it? Because they're the majority. Why would they leave? Less than 30% of Iran is Islamic, practicing Muslims. Why would the majority leave because of a minority? It makes no sense. Obviously, the regime in Iran is Islamic because it's under Islamic occupation, but doesn't mean that the population are Islamic. So that makes absolutely no sense. Why would they do that? So this is what we're dealing with. Now, going back to some normal people. We have Sagi says from Israel, don't forget to subscribe to 2CTV Plus. I love how you guys, the regular viewers, remind me to do the promotion. If you're a new viewer of this channel and you're enjoying our regular breaking news, geopolitical global news that we have for you guys, you can get more out of this channel. You can join 2CTV Plus, which is our independent platform, which is away from no, wrong. This is a classic BBC mistake. Wrong image. You can join us on 2CTV Plus by going on 2c.tv. You can find the link in the description as well, and obviously get access to all the documentaries and premium series and chat forum. There's a chat forum which we can join on Discord, talk to me and like-minded people. I have no idea how that happened, but so that's that. Anyway, Aaron says, me say Abu boom boom, now everyone say what is going on? Is it because we're doing a live stream late? Is that why? We're all falling apart. You guys are saying these things. I don't know what I'm pressing on the screen. This is all failing. It's not going well. Even the BBC doesn't do this, right? All right. Dustin says, hi, I was wondering if Turkey was Coptic Christians doing garbage work like Egypt does. The major differences. But obviously, there's, as I said, a lot of the good people in Turkey, they deserve a better system because, again, let's not forget, despite all the historic differences and banter, between the Turks and the Greeks, between the Turks and the Persians, the Turks and the Turks have a lot of problems. It's the Turks versus everybody. But despite all that, there's a lot of good people in Turkey, and they whether you're Christian or not in Turkey doesn't matter, and they all want a better country. So I said wrong button. I know. Everyone thought this is it. It's the end of the show. Let's go to bed. No, it's not. Oh, God. Guys, I'm from Turkey and the situation is not good. If the protests fail to gather enough power, I think Turkey will be Islamic and happiness will be long gone for us. Unfortunately, I agree. Yeah. And it's sad because so last couple of times I've been to Turkey, and I did say unfortunately I can't go back to Turkey, not anytime soon, with the whole mess that these guys have created in power. But I still met with a couple of good Turkish people who were like, this is not a good situation, just economically, politically, culturally, it's all falling apart, the country. And these guys were saying, this is about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, last time I was in Turkey, they were saying, if an opportunity comes for us to do any sort of protest against this tyrant, then we have to take it. And this is just one opportunity that we have to do. Otherwise, there is no way that we can get rid of these guys, because they're going to become empowered. If the crackdown wins, if the government wins, essentially they're saying, we can do whatever to you, we can send you to prison, we can stop your protests, and you can't do anything, which means they're gonna become more confident in power. They're just gonna stay there. Same thing that's been going on in Iran. With the Islamic Republic, we've had waves of uprising every few years, since the 80s, but especially the last 15, 20 years. And every time people failed, the regime felt stronger. Doesn't mean the regime got stronger, but they just felt stronger. And they're going to go back to business as usual. But the more uprising you see, the more protests you see, both in Turkey and Iran, even if they fail every few years, which is sad to say, you have to wait again, it's going to get stronger and stronger. Eventually, it's going to implode. And you can see the situation in Iran, and eventually you can see it in Turkey. Ian says that I thought Iran was a Muslim country. Yeah, no, that would have been a whole different problem. Well, I don't anymore, and I know this flipping country isn't a Muslim country. I'm not sure if there is any good Muslims. I hope there is. Well, there's a lot of good ones. You can see UAE, you can see good people in Saudi, and there's a lot of normal people who are just culturally Muslims in Turkey. They don't necessarily support the Islamic ideology that Erdogan is pushing, by the way. And they still care about their country, so they stay in Turkey and they build it. You know, it's not like those who just randomly leave the country to come to the West. Now, if you are new to this channel, you won't have had to wait as long as for me. Oh yeah, you won't have to wait for the app. Yes, in case you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, Spaceman and all the others are going to be kicking off. The app is coming soon. The 2CTV app is actually, fair. I do have some good news, because we did get an update from Apple. Essentially, we've been making this app for the past 50 years. But yesterday we got a good update from Apple that is getting there. They've approved the next stage. Just need one more final stage to process, and we will be on the Apple Store. Android and Google should be straightforward. That's easy. But yeah. And then the app will go public, and you can get access to all this stuff that we have and more on the app. It's coming, guys, don't worry. Now, Stu says, oh yeah, the Young Turks are gonna cry. I would like to see. I need to watch I don't usually watch the Young Turks, bunch of left-wing idiots, but the Young Turks as a channel. Over the next few days, it will be interesting to see Cenk's reaction on what's going on in Turkey, because he's extremely left-wing. And he's going to make excuses for Erdogan. Of course, he's going to make excuses for Erdogan, despite his alleged liberalism. Funny. Where are we with the rest of you guys? Misha says, Maya, you are clearly a Mossad agent for not backing the Islamists. We should roll over and let them be in charge, for they are the ones who said the Jews worship Ezra. Yeah, if you oppose Islamists, you're Mossad, right? Amazing. Do we have any trolls? Do we have any left-wingers or Islamists? Chunk Yogurt is so annoying. I've never heard that nickname for him, for Cenk. That's a good one. Chunk Yogurt. He's quite chunky. Yeah, so let's just double check actually while we're here, because this is still a live development, ladies and gentlemen, in Turkey. I need to find out if, I think for the night it's probably cooling down because it's quite late there. But obviously tomorrow expect a massive round of security forces on the streets in Ankara, in Istanbul and other places as well, because they're not going to allow the protesters to gain traction, but also international media attention. They're not going to let that happen. It's impossible for Erdogan's regime to want to be humiliated. Let's just go to the latest footage that we have, and then that's it. Turkey is on the rise. The people oppose Erdogan and the regime becomes more authoritarian. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the latest update from Turkey and the uprising on the streets. Of course, we will have more updates for you guys tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.